we are going to get back to Iran, what the goals are, what the ambition is, who we're doing this for, and what the clandestine operations are on the ground. As I showed you, Israel itself has openly revealed that their goal here is to create as much chaos as possible against the Revolutionary Guards and utilize the existing ethnic tensions to basically create chaos in the country, right? If you get the IRGC's ground units to move around, because on the one hand, you got to squash a rebellion that's taking place over there with like the Balochistan separatist movement. On the other hand, you got to go to like the Kurdish ethnic enclaves and stamp out protests and discontent and like actual. It's not even like a protest at that point. It's just like straight up warfare, especially when these guys are gearing up, tuning up the IRGC to react against what these guys are doing is objectively terrorism at that point, right? In that predicament, you have the military's existing units spread out to the best of your ability, and it makes it, I guess, easier for American troops to eventually come in if they were to do like a landing operation, which again, very limited options as far as where they could invade Iran from. Where they can create like a supply line, because Iran, as I've shown you before, if you look at a topographical map, is surrounded basically 3 parts by mountains. So they're going to try to divide the IRGC. They're going to try to divide the forces if there is actually additional boots on the ground participation from American units. Let me tell you who's not going to be on there. Let me tell you what boots are not going to touch Iranian soil. Israeli boots. Just so we're clear, it will be American boots. It'll be your neighbors that go and fight and die in the Iranian mountainside for Israel. It will not be Israeli boots that touch the soil. Make no mistake, okay? Israel, small country. Israel, too small. Israel, tiny nation, size of New Jersey. No politic here. No politic, I say. A coalition of the willing. But that's what this is. That's what's going on. That's what they're gearing up for. But it's pretty crazy how open the American media is in their coverage so far as well. Like, hey, Kurds, sorry, we just handed you over to the Syrian government after years of successful cooperation. Would you like to repeat the same thing in Iran, but faster? One person familiar with the discussion said that the idea would be for Kurdish armed forces to take on Iranian security forces and pin them down to make it easier for unarmed Iranians in major cities to turn out without getting massacred again, as they were during the unrest in January. Another U.S. official said the Kurds could help sow chaos in the region and stretch the Iranian regime's military resources thin. When I say it, people go, Hasan, you're an ethnic supremacist. You're a Turk. Of course you hate the Kurds. But CNN is literally writing verbatim what the design is here, okay? It's very clear. And to the Iranians in the diaspora who want to make sense of this, or maybe they want to hear from an opposing perspective and they're getting really mad at me and they think, Hasan, you don't understand. Like, we love Israeli bombs or whatever. I want my grandparents to die because as long as like we can have a free and liberal Iran, I need you to understand, you are not going to have a free and liberal Iran. You are just not going to have an Iran at all, okay? You are not different, okay? You are not different than the Iraqis. You are not different than the Libyans. You are not different than the Afghan population. I know you think you are. It's a very well-educated populace, okay? I know you think that you can overcome this. You can't, because at the end of the day, when a American bomb is flying overhead, it's going to destroy your home. It's going to kill you. It's going to kill your children. It's going to kill your neighbors. Okay? It doesn't matter how big-brained you are. It doesn't matter how invested in liberalism you are. America and Israel's designs for your country is not that. If you have any suspicion in your heart that America and Israel actually want to liberalize Iran and create a liberal secular democracy in Iran, drop it now, okay? They are not invested in this at all. And I know it feels crazy for a guy living in the imperial core, living in the United States of America. Oh, classic commie. He just loves the IRGC. I don't give a about the IRGC, okay? I don't give a about the Ayatollah. I don't give a about the IRGC. I mean, I think that they have put on a strong opposition against Israel in the region, and that's great, but that's totally separate from their domestic repression, okay? But I need you to understand, this is not about that. Your last opportunity to maintain a sovereign Iranian state is now in the hands of people that you have opposed, people that have jailed your family members, people that have tortured your family members. Your last shot at maintaining a sovereign state is now in the hands of the very same people that you despise. I know it sounds insane. I know it sounds crazy. And you might think, oh, you're saying all of this because like you're pro Ayatollah or whatever. This is your best worst case scenario. Okay. There are only bad options here. Bad ranging from catastrophic, like thermonuclear warfare options, which would be the maximum worst option. Okay. We go up the escalation ladder to the nuclear, like a tactical nuke being deployed. You know, that's obviously the worst option because it will destroy the entire planet. But the least bad out of all the catastrophic options you have, out of all the realistic ones at least, is that the Iranian government maintains its integrity, stays intact for a long enough time that the attrition kicks in, it becomes too costly for America, and Donald Trump cuts out the Israelis from the negotiation, and he tries to do like a Maduro thing with whoever the is in charge still. Okay. He tries to do a Delcy Rodriguez with like Ali Larjani or someone like that. And they're like, okay, we're pulling out. The energy markets have imploded and all of my capitalist friends are giving me phone calls every single day telling me to cut the out. And obviously the opposition internally is going to come from the ultra-Zionists, the Lindsey Grahams of the world, the pro-Israel dick riders of the world. But the competing forces there are, you know, how much can Donald Trump molest the money? How much can American empire's integrity take a massive blow? And eventually, which side caves to the pressure? If it's the Iranian side that falls apart, if it's the IRGC that falls apart, you are not going to get a secular liberal democracy out of that equation. You are not even going to have a country to return to. Okay. You're going to have a country that you desperately try to escape, and you are going to have, given the 90 million Iranians that live there of all different ethnic backgrounds, you are never going to be able to see your home again. You're never going to be able to cherish your culture again. You are going to have nothing. All of it will be reduced to rubble. You will have a balkanized state that is constantly waging war with one another, and it will turn into Libya. It's so crazy because we have seen it happen over and over again. And yet people still think this time it'll be different. Technically not true if Mossad is boots. No, Mossad is not going to have boots on the ground. They'll have people that are Iranian that they work with. They'll have their assets, but they're not going to send Israeli sons and daughters into Iran. Okay, get the out of here. They never have. Why the would they do it this time? It'll be different because Iranians actually want and ask for the USA to help, not same for Libya and Iraq. So that's the big difference now. No, you don't know anything. Kurds W, USA W, Turks crying in the corner. Oh my God. You don't know anything. No, of course there were coalitions in Iraq that were also asking and demanding for intervention. What the are you talking about? You're wrong. You just don't know anything about the history. You can only arrive at this position if you are utterly oblivious to the history of American empire in this region. Jesus Christ. In the eyes of Israel, you are no different than a Palestinian, okay? They do not give a about you. You are literally the same as Palestinians, the same as the Lebanese population living in southern Lebanon that has to now move again because, you know, Israel has decided we're going to go in and we're going to take more Lebanese territory. I don't know why you can't understand this. America doesn't even give a about its own service members. America doesn't even give a about its own citizens living in the United States of America, its own taxpayers. And you're over here thinking, oh, but they give a about me. You're stupid. CNN openly abides by Israeli military censorship. Oh my God, CNN accidentally confessed live on TV that a massive censorship Israel is doing damage in optics control. We're not showing you that because the Israeli government doesn't allow us to show where that may have come from.
We're not showing you that because we're not going to show, the Israeli government does not allow us or want us to show where that may have come up, that interceptor. But I'm not.
Yeah, it's because their interceptors are in civilian areas, obviously. That's the reason. But yeah, of course, CNN abides by Israeli censors. What are you talking about? Anyone that covers news inside of Israel literally is telling you what the Israeli government is allowing you to see. I hope you understand that. These countries try to have complete narrative control in a heavily populated and densely populated area to the best of their ability. And they do this all the time. In the first couple of days, if you recall, I showed you some of the impact sites. They had Israeli reporters on the ground doing English coverage because in the first couple of days, they wanted to garner sympathy. When they realized that they couldn't garner any sympathy whatsoever because everyone was like, we know you're a genocidal nation that's bloodthirsty and is trying to do the same thing you did to Gaza to Iran this time, says you. They went, okay, we shouldn't be showing the impact sites at all. We should actually hide it because it only makes it seem like Iran is actually actually reaching its targets. And it only shows the Iranian side that they're actually successfully striking the heart of fucking Tel Aviv or the heart of Jerusalem. Saudi former intel chief is saying Israel is why the U.S. is doing this. Yeah, everyone is saying Israel's doing this because, of course, that's it. That's the truth. It's hard to look at this as anything but the truth. As you guys know, I have said over and over again that I am the number one guy for the American asset in the region, the aircraft theory, okay? This is an instance where it 100% is Israel's ambitions. That's it. We are following along Israel's ambitions, and we're expending billions of dollars worth of assets in an effort to go along with what Israel wants here.
Well, I am surprised at the president's surprise. Respectfully, I would recall that the Crown Prince and other Gulf leaders have been urging America not to undertake military action against Iran because all of us believe that that action will not remain confined to Iran, that Iran will retaliate against American presence in the area, which is present in all of the Gulf states, and as far away as Turkey, apparently. So if he was surprised, I don't think Saudi or other Gulf leaders were surprised. They've been warning.
Yeah, here's the Financial Times. Israel expects weeks-long war against Iran. Summarizing the Israeli government's position, Sitrinovich said, if we can have a coup, great. If we can have people on the streets, great. If we can have a civil war, great. Israel couldn't care less about the future or the stability of Iran. That's the point of difference between us and the U.S. Oh my God, they're just saying it out loud. They're dabbing on us. They're dabbing on us. They're dabbing on us. You want to know why? Because we're cattle, okay? Wake the up. We are literally cattle. We are cattle. We are a nation of cattle, okay? It's literally like they're writing it in the Financial Times. They're saying it out loud. They're openly saying over and over again, what are you going to do about it? It doesn't matter, because guess what? A big chunk of people are going to hear Donald Trump go, this is a good thing, and they're going to say, this is a good thing. A big chunk of liberals are too predisposed with like how much they hate Donald Trump, but they haven't figured out what's going on in front of their eyes. And 90% of Americans don't give a about what happens to the Iranians, okay? That's it, because they think, oh, it's happening over there. We've done it so many times over, and we've been sheltered from the impact over and over again. So it doesn't matter. We're a nation of fat treatlerites who don't give a about anything, and America and Israel takes advantage of that over and over again. Holy that's a point of difference between us and the U.S., I think. Washington is more concerned about nation building and threats to their regional partners, he added. On Tuesday, an Israeli airstrike tore through a building in the Iranian holy city of Qom. The target was the gathering place for the Assembly of Experts, the 88-person clerical body meant to choose Iran's next supreme leader after Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed at the weekend. It remains unclear whether Israel believed the body was meeting at the time, but an Israeli military official said afterwards that the goal was to stop Iran from choosing a new supreme leader. We want to ensure Iran stays in disarray, they said. I watched Lavrov today after I saw snippets of Hegseth's speech, and I must say regarding Iran, Lavrov sounded fairly reasonable to me. Of course, it's in his interest if U.S. was restrained by international law, but nevertheless, Russia right now sounds more reasonable than the U.S. and Israel, saying this as a Euroid. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything because, again, we're cattle and you're also cucked cattle because your leadership, just like our leadership, do not give a They will allow Israel to do whatever the they want, and they'll sit there and they'll try to sell it to you, and maybe some will believe it, okay? Maybe some will believe it. Some will go, it sounds good to me. It sounds reasonable to me. Kurdish autonomy, I care about that. They're woke, I think, right? Here's Donald Trump, by the way. Remember when I told you yesterday that Donald Trump was going to up Marco Rubio's response because he's like the worst guy to have on board?
Years they've been killing our people and killing people from all over the world, and I think we have great support, and I think if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel and give us a shot if that was possible.
Ruined it. Marco Rubio comes out yesterday and he's like, no. I was wrong when I said it was Israel's war that we're fighting for Israel. I was just like, oh, that's not correct. Last month, Israel Hayom reported that the IDF is too scared and morale too low to fight Iran. U.S. casualties is obviously preferred. Israel Hayom, the existential threat beyond Iran, the IDF's growing career officer crisis, severe burnout prompting waves of resignations among majors and lieutenant colonels, a dramatic drop in the number of candidates competing for each senior command position. It has become a direct and acute threat to the national security of the state of Israel. The shortage stems from a mass departure trend that began even before the war and has since intensified. We need anyone, dude. Please, someone needs to put a stop to this. It's insane. Like, these guys are killing and slaughtering babies at such an alarming rate that they're experiencing fatigue from the baby slaughter, so much so that they're like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. But there's always more room in the region for a new group of individuals to take up arms at the behest of Israel and at the behest of American empire. It blows my mind. How can no one just like turn around and try to stop this? It's insane. Well, I guess there's one group that was actually trying to stop it. And for the last 2.5 years, America and Israel have melted every single person involved in said group and is now going to cut the head of the snake. They're just Nazis, man. They're Nazis. I don't know what else to say. They're just Nazis. And America is Nazis too. Oh. There has been a disproportionate number of casualties among commanders who led from the front shouting, "Follow me," as they charged at the head of their troops, many of them no longer fit for duty, further deepening the manpower gap. Well, it's great. There's already a million strong, ready to mobilize units from Iowa, from Ohio, from Wisconsin. They'll go out and fight Israel's battles for them when their military experience is fatigue, genocide fatigue, fatigue from all the baby murder that they've contributed to. It's great that we launched a regional war based on a feeling, which is also bullshit. It's not even real. This is just like they're not even doing a good enough job of selling this. That's what's so frustrating too. They're not doing a good enough job selling this. Their messaging is so inconsistent, and it is becoming increasingly clear to me that it doesn't even matter. They don't even need messaging discipline here. And the American Cattle Brigade will come into my chat and justify it regardless because a bad guy died. Keg's Breath also called it Israel's war. Oh, fantastic, fantastic.
To our steadfast partner, Israel, your mission is being executed with unmatched skill and iron determination. Fighting shoulder to shoulder with such a capable ally is a true force multiplier and a breath of fresh air. We salute your courage and your contribution.